Alrighty, lumberjacks, welcome back. And last time we were playing, we were doing all loading. We still have quite a bit of loading to do, so we're just gonna keep loading. We had left this trailer here unlocked like intelligent people, so that didn't glitch out. I'm actually just gonna take this to the mill and get rid of all this little wood, and we'll come back and I think we'll finish off all the shorts before we move on to the longs. The longs we'll do last. They'll be pretty quick and painless, so we'll do that. So let's get these ugly little logs to the mill. This was our cleanup load, I think. Yeah, so there's a lot of mixed weird size little tiny weird pieces in here, but you know what, it worked. They're staying on the truck. I can see a couple of little short ones that we loaded last time that are slipping out. They're not quite out of the bunks, but yeah, you probably wouldn't want to do that in real life. You'd want to get a little bit more spacing. And like I said, the best thing you can do is cradle it. So you put as long pieces on the outside as possible and build kind of a little cradle with a hole in the center. That way you can hide all the little pieces in the middle and then bury it with heavy pieces afterwards. Let's see, we're just going to whip this over here. Again, you don't have to manually unload. I just like manually unloading. Technically, you could just drive through the sell point, sell them all, no problem, but we're trying to have some fun here too. Let's go about there. Leave that. So, subjects. Last episode, I don't think we really talked about anything. We were just loading. I mean, loading tips and tricks, I think, are fun too. I think people enjoy that stuff. At least the logging side really likes to see what goes through my mind while I'm unloading and loading stuff. So, you guys got a first class view ticket on the last episode about that. So, this episode, I've had a few people bring it up. It's I wouldn't say it's controversial. Maybe in the modding community it's controversial. So the question was talking about paying for mods. So people who do paywalling, we'll call it paywalling. That's what we'll call this episode. Paywalling and modding stuff. So I'm going to tell you guys the story of FDR Logging in terms of how the supporting and donations and all that stuff went. And you guys can get a little bit of an idea of why we do what we do today. So, what happened back in the day was it was all mod groups, really. Patreon came along. Patreon is what I use for most of my donation services. It's basically, for people who don't know what Patreon is, I'm sure lots of you do, but for the people who don't know what it is, Patreon is a subscription type service where you can give a monthly donation. You know, you pay $3 a month or $5 a month or whatever, and it allows you to support a creator. So, for instance, you know, if you had a favorite artist who draws pictures, that artist you can give them $5 a month, and then that artist can give you a special picture that's only available to the people who donate. It's basically like a pay to have access to private work system, right? It's like a support your favorite artist kind of deal. So when Patreon came out, all of us modders were really excited because what we did was we released our mods only on Patreon. So what we would do is we'd be like, okay, so for instance, say I'm releasing this Hitachi loader that I'm running right now. This is going to come out, but I'm going to only release it to people on Patreon, and nobody can have access to it unless you're on Patreon and you pay and you're a donator, right? That was the concept behind Patreon that took off, and everybody was really excited about it because it's like, man, I can make killer money. I have lots of fans. We have great audiences. They will pay for this stuff for sure. So that was a great model. Everybody was making really good money doing that. But Giants came out, and power to them. That's the way it is. Giants came out and said, nope, you guys aren't allowed to do that anymore. It's against the Giants' terms of service. So if you ever hear people talking about the Giants TOS, that's the Giants' terms of service. And Giants, obviously, is the people who made Farming Simulator. So they don't want modders profiting off of their game, off of their whatever. Anyway, it's part of the terms of service. So they just don't want people charging money for mods. Which is whatever, that's their choice. I get it. So what a lot of people did was when that came out, like Giants emailed a whole pile of us with basically a cease and desist letter saying, all of your mods have to be publicly available and free for everybody. You can't put them behind a paywall and sell your mods to the public. And we were all like, well, that sucks. I mean, we're the ones putting the work in. We're the ones paying for the modeling. We're the ones doing all of this stuff. And you're saying basically we can't make any profit off it, which I thought was stupid. I didn't like it either. I mean, like, it's up to the consumer, right? Like, if you want to support a modder, you can go pay to get the stuff he has. If you don't care, you don't want it, then just don't do it, right? But there was a lot of people complaining that it wasn't fair, that you had to pay, and then Giants did a big crackdown on it. Which, whatever. Anyway, it's over. So, tons of people have tried skirting it. They've tried finding loopholes. They've tried doing weird stuff. And a lot of the I want to say smaller modding groups, because they are smaller, I guess, in comparison to what I am now, tried all kinds of stuff to get it to work. They tried, like loopholes, testing. Testing's the new one, and I think that's the one that's still going on. They say, oh, well, if you're a Patreon and you're subscribed and all that stuff, it's considered testing. So you're not really buying the mod, you're just getting early access to testing the mods. But I mean, it's the same thing, man. Like, it literally is the exact same thing. So basically, that got all shut down, and everybody was all crabby about that. Lots of modders having complete rants on Facebook about how unfair it was, blah, 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 blah. And I agreed. I didn't like it either, but that's just the way the cookie crumbled, right? So we had to deal with it. Fast forward a few, I'd say 6 or 7 months after that happened, some modding groups basically just said, screw you, I'm going to keep doing it anyway. And I don't think anything ever actually came about people doing that. I think it was fine. I think there's still lots of mod groups that still do the paywall thing. But unfortunately for me at FDR Logging, I'm a bit of a larger modder now, and I have sponsors, and I have, a little bit of more stuff going on. So for me, unfortunately, I respected the decision from Giants, and I said, okay, if that's what you guys want, then that's the way she goes. So what I started doing, and these are long. These might even be longer than 8s. Sorry, just sidetracking my brain here. How far can I come ahead on this? Oh, I still got lots of room. I can push my head with it. So what I started doing was I said, well, screw it. I guess we'll just not give anybody anything outside of like early access information, which is what I still do to this day. I'll tell Patreons and YouTube and members and stuff information about mods that are coming up, or stuff like teasers before the public gets access to it. And that's kind of all I can really do. I can't really give any mods. I can't really test any mods. I can't do any of that stuff. Because it's technically against the terms of service. Again, people have tried skirting it, saying like, oh, it will be public, but it's not public yet, so you get early access. And we tried that a little bit, and I'll tell you what happens, and the reason I stopped doing that. So what I used to do is I used to do the testing thing too, like, oh, if you pay $5 a month, you get access to this machine that's not fully completed yet, but you get to take a look at it and try it and blah, 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 blah. But what happens is, I had a whole bunch of people who were not FDR lovers. They were FDR haters. And what they would do is they would go pay the $5, one of them would, and they would go in and they'd take the mods and they'd go release them on these shitty little sites. So the mods were incompleted. They're not ready for the public yet, but yet they get released to the public. And then suddenly everybody's like, oh, these mods suck. Because they weren't completed versions. They were just these test versions that got out. And it caused a whole bunch of grief because people were like, oh, these mods suck because they're not done. Even though the whole point of that was, oh, geez, I'm just banging that bunk there. It's because I'm talking and not paying attention to my loading. Anyway, so it basically what was happening was there's just leaked stuff, right? You'll hear in this community, that's a very popular subject, is leaked mods and that kind of stuff. So I just fully went, I'm not doing this anymore. Everything that comes out will come out at the same time. It'll come out to the public at the same time. It'll be free. And I just left it up to the people. And I said, you know what, guys, if you want to donate to FDR Logging, awesome, you can, but it's not a requirement. We're still going to be producing mods regardless. And that's basically how that went. And I never got a leaked mod ever again because nobody got them until they were ready. So honestly, it turned out way better. Definitely money-wise, it dropped off a lot compared to what it was because of that. But whatever. Like I told you guys in other episodes, I don't do it for the money. We used to. We used to be like, oh yeah, we can make all this money and then we can all retire. And then I was like, no, you know what? Let's go get a real job. But yeah, it was definitely an interesting time. So from what I hear, I get this brought to me lots of time. I have people that email me and message me and they say, oh, I found this modding group. They still are doing paid mods and they're still up and going. Why don't you do it? Right. And the reason I don't do it is, exactly what I explained. I was sent the letter from Giants and I respect it and I don't do it. That's not what they want. And honestly, it's not really great for the community either. I do want everybody to have access to all the mods. I think that's fair. I think it's fair that everybody gets it. So that is a controversial subject in this community because I know there's lots of people that still do it. I would love Giants to make an example of somebody and actually follow up on their threats of pursuing people legally for breaking the TOS, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. That would be pretty funny. Just like, oh, you broke the law and you expected no consequences? Huh, funny, hey? Weird. Anyway, I don't really personally care what other people do with their mods and stuff. That's all on their decisions. Oh man, loading these 8s can be a bit of a biatch. 6s are definitely the easiest. 7s are kind of like the sweet spot, I think, for loading. So there's lots of mass. That's the only thing I really like about these 8s is they're really mass heavy. So even these tiny logs that we have, they're really, really hefty. So they settle in the bunks a little bit better. Like you'll see they drop in a lot nicer. So when you're working with them, it's not as much of a fight as the 6s, but oh, that's a bit of a hefty grab. I kind of want it to go this way. Woo-hoo-hoo. She's hanging on there though. And again, I'm just kind of looking at the other end. Watching this side of me so I can see where the logs are butting up against the other logs that we have already on the trailer. So I don't want them like right up against it. I try to leave a little bit of a gap just for when I'm unloading them. It makes life a little bit easier for everybody. These got a bit of a tail for sure. And again, I'm just kind of pushing them around in there, letting them settle where they may. Oh, there we go. Whatever. That's as good as we get there. But yeah, no, the whole modding paywall thing was such a big community controversial thing, and I think it still is for some groups. But like I said, I would like Giants to actually pursue some of these guys and get them because I don't think it's super fair. Well, I mean, it's like a 50-50 for me. One, I don't think it's super fair that other people get to do it and there's no consequences, and then us, we were targeted because we're bigger, saying, oh, you can't do that anymore. It's like, well, good, go after all of them then if you're going to do it. Like, it's not very fair that you're picking some people. But honestly, the Switch was good. And that's the important part for me, is the Switch was good because it got rid of my leaked mod problem that I had, like people leaking mods and all that stuff. That went right away. I didn't have that problem anymore. Oh, there's only a tiny pile there. I can get the rest on there. I know I can. I might have to double stack these a little bit. When you're getting towards the end of a block here, and you only got a little bit left on, you're like, you know what? I'm gonna make it work. I don't care if it's double, triple stacked. We're gonna get that on there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab these little short ones up here first, and we're gonna see how much I can get on that front bunk. And these are really long in comparison to the last one, so we're just gonna see if we can trickle them on there. And again, I'm just not really opening the claw all the way. I'm just kind of leaving it so that they can fall a little bit more naturally and see where they land. That feels pretty good. So yeah, like I said, I understand there's definitely more money to be made by doing the testing, paywalling kind of experience, but I'm so over the money side of trying to do the get rich thing, at least in this game. Like, It's not about that. It was like the concept for a lot of modders, like, oh, you can make so much money. And now I'm just kind of like, you know what? Financially, I'm good, man. I really just don't care. Sure, maybe there's money that could be had more, but the leaking thing was really frustrating, and it was such an armed service for people who didn't like FDR logging. It just gave them, oh, those are all falling off. It gave them the ability to basically attack me using leaked mods, which sucked. And now you can't do it because everybody gets everything all at once. So there's both sides. There's both sides to the paywall argument, I guess. And I've seen other modders completely quit modding because of leaked mods that they worked really hard on, and they were only releasing them to specific people or to Patreons, and then they get leaked and they're just like, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore because people suck. So if you take away the ability for people to leak your mods, you take away the ability for people to attack you that way, you're set. See, that was actually really quick how quick we loaded these. The longs shouldn't be too bad to load. We don't have any shorts mixed in there anymore, so I think it'll be pretty quick. Just kind of hammer them on. I'm going to try to finish off all the loading on this one because the next episode we're going to be in Fox Creek. So this episode might run a tinge longer than it normally does because I want to clean up all this wood. I hate leaving wood on the ground. But these are actually pretty well settled in here. Again, because they're 8s, there's a lot more mass to them. They're way heavier, so they do pack into the bunks a little bit nicer, and they stay a lot more sturdy. They don't wiggle around quite as violently. Every once in a while you're driving down the road, if you do any corners, hit L twice, L, just to quickly relock the load. It helps them resettle. I know some people have that frustration. It's only when you're going around corners. If you're driving straight, no problem. But if you go around lots of corners and stuff, just hit L, then hit L. You see how they kind of they get all squirmy when I unlock it, and then lock it again, they settle? It just allows the physics to settle so there's no weird pressures. It's something to do with the component mass and the way they lock. It's just really weird. But if we can avoid it, why not, right? All right, here we go again. Okay, let's unload these real quick. And you know, for the long logs, I'm just gonna straight sell them at the mill. Like, we'll go a little quicker. This load will probably be worth more. I bet you this load, if the last one was 40, I bet this will be worth like 58, maybe even 62. Somewhere between 58 and 62 is my guess. You guys can make guesses before I sell it here, and let me know what you think it is. Because I think 58 to 62. Because I think 8s are worth a lot more than 6s, if I'm not mistaken. Just trying to roll up that bunk a little. Because these are heavier logs. They don't really... You have to fight with them a little more than the 6s. There we go. So yeah, paywalling. Don't do it. I mean... It was funny because the second I sent out that announcement, it was a long time ago, on Patreon, wherever, on Facebook, that basically everyone was getting everything at the same time. There was no more specialty mods coming out for Patreons. I had a huge dump in Patreons. Like, I lost probably 60% or more of my Patreon supporters because obviously they were there for the mods, right? And without some kind of a feature for them, I mean, they're like, what are we doing here, right? So I lost tons. But then after people started like really loving the mods again, like, my Patreons went right back up. Like, it's more now than I had before when I paid for it, because of just the supporters and people loving and respecting what we're doing. I guess it's pretty sweet. So I was actually very excited about that. And even to this day, I have way more supporters than I ever thought I would. I mean, we're doing really well now in terms of working with brands and tons of equipment. And now what I've started doing is I've started, and this is coming back here soon, so nobody cry yet. Well, actually, it'll be back by the time this video comes out. You guys will have already voted on the next mods. But I've added the ability for people on Patreon and on YouTube members, those guys, basically anybody who supports and donates, I've given them the ability to vote on the next great mod, the next thing, right? And it's pretty exciting. It's just I had to take a little break there from the mod voting because I had Medill show up, and then I had Timber Pro show up, and amazing. Like, that was the best thing that ever happened. But it took away a lot of time because I was working on those models, and holy Lord, it was a lot of work. So I didn't really have time to do an extra mod in between for Patreons. But you know what? We still got some great stuff out of it with the Timber Pro stuff and the Medill stuff. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. No, the community has come so much further than I ever thought it would. I've said that multiple times throughout the years. But every single like month or every 6 months, I look back and I'm like, man, even in that small time frame, I can't believe the amount of stuff that we've accomplished. Like, it just seems crazy to me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat, and we're going to just pick up this loader, and we're going to drag it over here, flying loader. Okay, and I'm going to sell this. Like I said, the next loads, we're just going to hammer them out. We're going to drive them straight through. So we'll do some speed loading here. Now you can see how fast we can load bunks. Crappy or not, we're going to see what we can do here. I don't like speed loading. I like to take my time when I'm loading, but we're going to see what we can do here. So I think our loader's already parked at a pile here. Oh, no, it's way over there. So why don't we start with this pile, maybe? Yeah, I think that'll work. I'm going to park about up here somewhere, sure. And then we'll cheat and save ourselves some time. You saw nothing. Okay, so now the butts are at the other end of this load. So this is kind of a weird position. I should have parked on the other side, but we're just going to have some fun with it. So the butts are at this end, so I'm actually just going to grab further down. We're going to do a very butt-centric load. Oh, hefty. And we're going to just slide those right in there. Not getting too fancy with this one. We're just going to plop and go here. Oh, that's a hefty shot. Okay, let's maybe grab that a little higher up. Not too high up. We want a little bit of a neck on it there. There we go. Swoop. There you go. That's better. Even that's pretty hefty. And these are kind of all over the place. We're not getting, because they're longs, I'm not too worried about the distances. So here's actually a good loading trick for you. So a lot of people, especially in multiplayer, I've seen have this issue. So like if you're grabbing logs and you want to dump them, here, let's really quickly grab this. If you have logs and you want to dump them in the bunks, but you find that the bunks are in the way of where you want to dump. So if I spin this and I want to dump it right in the middle here, say these bunks are too close. I actually kind of nailed it right on. But if the bunks are too close, what you can do, because you don't want to open up on the bunks, so what you can do is as you're opening, slide your grapple back or forward to that bunk so you're not hitting it, and then it'll actually let you kind of slip past it, which is pretty cool. Well, actually, you know what we can do? Because we got a few forward, we can put a few backwards now. Yeah, it's like that. Boom. So this is a good example. See how I'm right on the bunk with my grapple? So align it in the middle, and then as you open, slide your grapple ahead a little, like that. That way you can open your grapple fully without actually hitting the bunks, or the stakes, sorry, not the bunks, but the stakes that are sticking up. And this one's just being weird, so I'll give that a flick here. What is it with this one? Just having a time of its life. Sure, whatever. There's only one log here anyway. All right, now let's see how much we can get on this one here. And then we have, oh, the other pile's right here. Yeah, this won't take long to lick these up. It'll be quick and painless. So actually what I'm going to do is the same thing. I'm going to park on this end. Now, at least this end we're parked on the butts. I prefer that. And sometimes it's hard to get a nice ratio of like your butts to your tops when you're loading these trailers. It's actually not too bad because these logs are very thin. They're not like, they don't have huge flares on them or anything, so it's pretty easy to adjust them. So I'm going to try to do is I'm going to go way down here and try to do a bit of a loop. And we're going to kind of loop right back up at the loader here. Beauty. Right about here. So now we can see our bunk a little better than we did over there too. There we go, that's better. So again, I'm just gonna start chucking them on here with no real rhyme or reason, just to get them kind of set up. As long as you get them kind of by the neck of the logs, you can get pretty nice grabs. And again, we're very butt-centric to the front, meaning we got a lot of butts on the front side of it. Oops, let's get a little deeper in here. Oh, that's a little vicious. Maybe not. How about that? That's a little bit better. Oh, I got one hung up in there. There we go. Sometimes you get them stuck in there. You just got to wiggle the grapple around a little bit until they fall out. But we about there. I think we can get one more decent grapple right on there. Maybe not a crazy one. We'll grab this little bite back here. The reason I want to load this one up is I think I can get the rest of it maybe in one load. If I really plow this load. I could probably get more logs in there if I were to flip them, but I'm just being lazy here too. We're just breaking that rule about loading to the stakes here. Oh, I got one sticking out there. So you can see down there how that one little top is poking out of the stake down there. So if I give this a little bit of a kick up, it should pop right over. There you go. And it'll nicely settle down. All right, let's call that good. That's pretty hefty. So go really quickly whip that over to the mill. Yeah, not bad. Not fantastic, but not bad. Oh man, I really want to get that in one shot. I don't know if that's going to happen though. Might have to do two. One hefty one and then one cleanup load. That's right, we're whipping these loads out here pretty quick, so it shouldn't take too long. That is a heavy load though. I can feel it just my truck turning. Like, it's just like, whoa. And again, we're just gonna sell this one like instantly. See what it's worth. Oh, I didn't even look at what that last load. Did we sell the last load? I think we sold it. The 8s. Remember I made a prediction? Somebody's gonna have to go back in the video and check because I didn't even see how the logs are kind of sketching around back there. Hit L, unlock, let them bounce. Hit L again, and then lock it again. That'll stop the sketchiness that's happening back there. Because the locking strap system is not 1000% perfect. Yeah, we sold those logs. I didn't even look at it after that big buildup I did for the whole like, oh, what's it gonna be worth? And then I didn't even say it. Okay, what's this one gonna be worth? Let's say 40,000. 38. Close, but no, not great. And we're gonna teleport. I should probably teleport right onto this road that we built. Oh, look at that. Right in the end zone. So we're just punching out these loads. Want to get it done. So then next episode, this will be our last episode on this map for this dealio. Oh man, I'm gonna try to get it in one load. I don't think that's gonna happen, but we can try. We can try. If it is, it's gonna be one legendary sized load. All right. How are we doing for time? We're not like crazy over the video. I think we're still kind of on time here. These kind of all slid around when I was moving them, so we're just. Ooh, that's a hefty grab. Getting a little cocky here. That's okay. Oh, watch your tail. That's the only thing about depth perception versus real life that's kind of a pain in the arse in this game is. In real life, I can tell exactly where the tails are when I'm throwing logs on a truck. On this, it's like I have no idea. Because my visibility sucks. So again, if you're too close to that stake, let it go, slide ahead a bit, drop. It's a great little technique. I don't want these to go down. Oops. Without wrecking the truck. These are all over the place, so I just don't even care. Let's just chuck them on there. There's shorts and longs and all kinds of sizes mixed in there. Okay. There's no way in hell we're going to be able to get all of that other wood on that trailer, I don't think. I don't see that being a possibility. No, not a chance. That's a lot of wood. But I wouldn't mind getting on the other end here. So we're going to have to do 2 trips, I think. I'm going to try. If it's close, I might just say screw it. But there is something satisfying about just cleaning up the whole rest of the block. That was a lot of wood we cut down. A monstrous amount. Okay, here we go. Are you ready for this? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I see I got one twisted sideways there. I'm gonna have to fix that. This is how I like to load them. I think it's easier for visibility. And in real life, you can load them from the side a lot easier, but in this game, because of the stupid lack of depth perception, actually, you know what? I could probably bring that up a little closer. So I can see my tops a little better. Let's bring it up to like there. Let's try that. See how that goes. Ah, that's better. Let me get a little bit away from it here. There we go. All right, let's see what we can do here. And again, all the butts are going to the front at the moment, so that's gonna probably hurt us in our quest to get lots on here. So another thing I do occasionally is I'll grab a decent sized grab that's not too over my grapple. So like that's kind of like right on the line. And what I'll do, you've probably seen this in some videos, is I'll dump it right here. And then I'll go down here, grab it from the back side, right about there. Put the pressure on with your stabilizer so it keeps it level. Then spin it, whoop, just so you're not hitting your cab. And that's how you kind of get the butts to the other end. Well, that's one way to do it anyway. There's multiple ways to do it. That way the butts kind of even out in the load a bit. These are kind of ugly logs, so they're not going to settle as nice as, oops, as nice as some of them do. There we go, that's better. And we still have a pretty big butt centric, so I'm going to try to... The other thing is if they're short enough logs and you're close enough, you can actually just grab them like this from the top. Put a little bit of pressure on them with the stabilizers on that end. Oh, this is a big grab. Surprised I can even get that without it tipping over. She's thinking about tipping, I can feel it. It's getting a little wobbly there. All right. Okay, here we go. Whoop, bonk. Okay, perfect. Beautiful. Oh, man. There's like barely enough for another load here. It's like barely enough, but just enough for another load. But I'm going to see what I can do here. And tilt that this way a little bit more. Let's see. You know what? I'm not going to give up. I think we can do it. Oh boy. This is so silly when you overload these. I'm not accepting defeat. I won't do it. That's an insane load, but we're going to try here. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is an episode about overloading your trailers. The DOT, Department of Transportation, and the safety guys do not like this. All right, we're going to call that good. Let's say. That's almost photo worthy, that, hey? Here, let's, I'm going to take a photo just for you guys here. This will be the thumbnail. You guys get to be part of us getting the thumbnail here. Picture. Oh, that's funny. All right, so let's lock that up and see if we can get it back to the mill without dying. She's hefty. My truck didn't want to turn that. That's a lot of weight, man. But we did it. So yeah, we did some loading stuff. You guys got to see some really ugly fast loading, and we also went over the paywall stuff. So hopefully that paywall question answers to some people why we don't do what we do with the paywalling. So again, one really isn't about the money; it's more about the community. For me, anyway. I mean, maybe other people have a different opinion on that, but for me, it's about community. I really don't care about the money anymore. Not like I really cared about it. At one point, I definitely was like interested in the concept of turning it into like a financial thing, but then I gave up on that, especially after the TOS warnings came out. So now I just do it because I love it, and yeah, people still donate, so it works out great. And then everybody has access to it, because you also got to realize there's a lot of people in the communities that don't have enough money to pay for the extra stuff, the DLCs, the excursion mods that are hidden behind paywalls. Some people can't afford that stuff. So you guys donating as a community gives everybody access to this, even the people who aren't as financially stable as some of us. Okay, what are we guessing? Last one was what? 38? So it's got to be 41 at least. What are we saying? Oh, I can't see it. Ah, there we go. 46. Oh, she was hefty. Heftier than I thought. Okay, let's do a quick look back at our block here. We're going to do a flyby in the air here. Whoop. So, we started over here. We cut this little road out. Oh, actually, we didn't start here on this series. I actually started when we were already in this block, and we cut it all out. But yeah, we cleared a big chunk of wood here, man. That was nuts. And it was very beautiful. But as you can see, kind of our block layout now, if I can go a little bit higher here, you can kind of see how it worked, right? So as we laid the wood, you can see kind of the process of where we went and where we built. Sometimes having this kind of bird's eye view, you guys can do this too, to look at what you're doing. It just helps you make sense of the way you're cutting and the way you're doing your blocks. When I built this map, I kind of cut out these block areas with this colored terrain already. So that way you guys can kind of pick your blocks and clear up to the block edge if you want, or past it. So it kind of gives you a little bit more play. But yeah, anyway, we're going to leave it at that because we're already over our time by quite a bit here. So next video, we're going to be heading over to Fox Creek, and I'm going to be showing you guys some terrible, ugly spots and frustrations that we're all going to get to experience together. I think it's going to be super fun. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.